Glenn, Red Dog Motorsports. On today's video, we're going to do an unboxing and install video for my Edge Juice with Attitude. I have bought a tuner for my 2011 Dodge, Ram rather, and with the 6.7 Cummins. I had the CTS3 on my 06. I really liked it. It was pretty straightforward. Only thing I didn't like about it was that to install the tunes, it took quite a bit of time, and I just didn't feel like the process worked as well. With the Attitude, it's a little bit more on the fly, and I like that a little bit better. So I went ahead and upgraded to that on this truck. So I'm gonna bring you in, we'll unbox it, go through the parts, and then take a look at the truck. The install is pretty straightforward, so it shouldn't really take that long. Alright, hopefully I can keep everything in frame, not get my big fat head in the way. Alright, so the first thing we've got, just the tuner itself. We've got, looks like the brain of everything. Come on. So I'm assuming this gets mounted somewhere. We've got a wiring harness. This is the EAS connector, which we are going to be using. We're going to have a couple of connectors. This should go through the firewall. Connect into power, it looks like, ground. So I'm assuming most of this is underneath the hood. All right, we've got a oh darn it, EGT sensor, which my truck already has the provisions to mount. Your typical, some zip ties. We got some additional wiring here. These look like some power from not sure what reason. We'll have to read the instructions. Here's some more zip ties, some Velcro, a fuse connector to get into the power in the box. Obviously some install instructions. Important to note, just that there's some modern emissions control, etc. This will be, oops, I don't have to drop it. The actual gauge itself. We got all the stickers and quick install guide, because you do need to update it and whatnot. So there's the actual screens, just a little 5-inch touch screen. This is your OBD cord, computer cord, and this connects to the EAS system. And then on top of all of that, I went ahead and bought, let me keep in screen here, I bought the mount. This goes into the what you call A-pillar, and then mounts to the screen itself. Makes it a little easier to get to. And then this is the EAS, which maybe I didn't need to buy. Might have to return this, get a different one, to connect the EGT sensor. So maybe I bought this and didn't need it. So might be returning at least one part. Sucks that I took the plastic off of it, because then it'd be easy to return. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to sit down and read the instructions. All right, guys. So I started to kind of prep the truck. I was going to get some of the stuff loosened, make sure where routing was going to be, so that my video would be a little bit smoother. and not be kind of herky-jerky as I stopped to fix issues or whatnot. As I found them, first thing right off the bat, went to install the EGT probe. Like I said earlier, this truck has the provision for it. Should have just been able to remove a bung, install the EGT probe, lay the wires out, boom, good to go. Wrong. So this is where the bung went. Here's my easy out with that said bung. Here's one of the studs that holds this in. Nut froze up on it. Heat. There's my torch. PB blaster. None of that would get it loose. I finally, slowly but surely, worked it back and forth until I got it out. So now I'm gonna have to go buy a new stud, new nut, reinstall it. And of course, all of this is way back in there where that hole is. You can see one of the studs that stayed. That nut came out. So yeah, good start. Now, that being said, this is probably the hardest thing because everything else is just electrical connectors. This is really the only mechanical thing that we do. So the rest of it should go easy. God, I hope so. But it's getting late. It's a little after 6. I'm gonna head in, get me some dinner. We'll get back on this in the morning. I'm 2 to 3 days out, they said, on getting my steel, which means I won't get it till Friday. That kind of sucks. It's my fault. I should have ordered it last week and I didn't. No one to blame but me. So we'll get this video. We got a video going out on Friday. This one will go out, and then we'll be catching up on the rat rod, and we're going to be going strong on it. I'm really am, like I said, it's got to get done. So let's get to it. All right, everybody. Now that crisis has been averted and we've managed to get the stud repaired and the plug out for the EGT probe and get the thermocouple in there, the rest of this should go pretty smoothly. So I've laid out the cable just to give us a gander. So this location right on top of the fuse box, that's where the main little computer is going to go. The EGT probe, I've got it running. Just for now, I'm going to run it behind, underneath the cowl, and up along the side of the valve cover, and then over here to the computer location. It will bolt into these two connections. This is the injector harness. So I've got to plug one into the stock harness, one into the injectors. The other one's right back here. So they're just going to get laid up there. We've got ground and power. Ground is going to connect to this little stud here, and then this will get connected to a fuse inside here. This is the cable for the turbo timer. It will get run right alongside the battery through the firewall, over in there somewhere, and get connected to the turbo timer inside. We'll get to that harness in a little bit. And this is going to be the data connector that goes to the gauges. It will also, the cable for it will get run along the same route as the turbo timer cable. So at this point, I'm going to get all of those in place. We will get the fuse installed, and then we'll be able to get all of this zip tied in and tightened down. we are moving along. I've got the wiring harness in the engine bay, all connected. Everything's back where it needs to be. Show you real quick. So the computer is Velcroed down. Power wire goes inside to the fuse, runs over here, like I explained before, to the ground connector. You guys can't see it, but it's right back here. And then we've just got, I need to zip tie this. I'll do this here in a minute. But the wiring just runs up and around connectors, all easy enough. Oh, looks like we got one more to cut. And now we're getting ready to work on the ones that go inside the cab. So we've got this one. They call it a, I forget what they call it. It's the ESA module though. And this one is the one that connects like turbo timers. Oops, here you go, sorry. That was not in frame. All right, so this is the one that connects like turbo timers and the EGT, all of those. There's a bunch of different modules that you can add to the truck. I think they've got a brake boost, or not a brake, a turbo brake, that kind of thing, engine brake, a couple others. I don't know all of them, but it has this connector on the end of it, and it goes to the gray cable. I know this because they're the same color and shape, and I'm good with shapes and colors. But for me, I'm just going to take it, I'll route it, and then I'll attach it back here by the back of the firewall. It's where I did it on the 06, worked out real well. From the interior side through the firewall, you'll get this connector. It's on the same cord that has the OBD end. So this will get pushed through the firewall and we'll connect it to that connector there. And I know that again because I'm good with shapes, and this one's round and that one's round. Then we've got the data cord. This one also gets pushed through the firewall and it goes to this cable. And again, I know this because of their shapes. The rest of the OBD cord, these two ends stay inside. This one obviously goes to the OBD connector so it can read the computer of the truck, and this one goes to the gauge to give all of the information into a format you can read. There's one more connector on here, that's here in the center, and that gets connected to the other side of this cord. The one that goes to the ESA connector, this one here, this one gets plugged into the side. And then from there, anytime you add one of these modules, they just daisy chain together. The other end of this will go to whatever you're connecting, and then you only get one of these cords that goes inside and connects to this. Just makes it all pretty simple. It's kind of like just a way to add analog gauges, all of that different kind of stuff. So what I've got to do now is figure out what grommet on the back of the firewall. Hey, look up here. There you go. So now what I got to do is figure out what grommet we're going to push through on the firewall and get the cord run through it. And then once that's done and we get all this connected and zip tied, then we'll go inside and we'll finish the two other connections that are in there, three. There's the OBD, the turbo timer connection, which the turbo timer cord is this one. It has to be pushed through the firewall coming from the engine bay going that way into the interior. It gets connected into a specific connector inside. We'll get to that when we go into the interior. So let me get started on that and then we'll move forward. Okay, we got through the firewall. I'm going to show you what I used and kind of explain where I went with it. So step over here if you would. All right, so I used just a regular blade to cut through the boot. And the boot that I cut through is I cut through the passenger side of the main wiring harness grommet. It's a double walled boot, and If you use this nice and careful, you can get in there and make 2 slits. So I cut through the the firewall side, the engine side, and then I used an awl to poke through to the other side, marked it with the pen, then I went inside, cut it with the knife again. I used some lube to lubricate the edges of the slit. Seriously, that fast? You guys hit the gutter. It's hydraulic lube. Come on. And then once it was lubricated, I could push the cable from the inside, the big one that went to the blue connector. I was able to push it through the first part of the boot, and then I was able to use the screwdriver to kind of push the firewall or the engine side of the boot, open the secondary one, and grab it with the pliers. And then it pulled through nice and easy. The other ones, they were from the engine side, and they were a little bit smaller. One was the end for the ESA connector. It was nice and small, so I just pushed it through, grabbed it from the other side, pulled it in. And then the blade connector that goes to the turbo timer is nice and small. It actually was fairly difficult because it was so small, it was hard to get it from the other side. But with that being just the little slit cuts, it seals up nice around the cables. You don't have to worry about anything either crawling into the cab or the wind getting in there, any of that, heat, anything like that. I do have to clean up all the wiring on the inside. So if we'll step over here, look at my smiling face. All right. So if you kind of look down here, yeah, we got a bit of a mess. So I need to get under, there's a connector underneath, somewhere just underneath the column. I need to get to it, connect this in there. Might have to pull this panel. Might make it easier to get to, I'm assuming. So I may do that. Looks like it, I don't know if it snaps, but I'm guessing there's a couple of number 7 screws underneath there. And then I need to clean all of this wiring up. We'll coil it up together, tape it, and then zip tie it to something underneath. And then this cable needs to be routed up through here, and just the end of it needs to poke through. And this is where the gate, whoops, hey, look up here. So this cable will run up through the side right here, and then I'll put the mount on, and the gauges will reside right here in this area. I'm going to show that in a little more detail, but for now, let me get underneath, and we'll figure out where the cable, this one, the turbo timer cable, we'll connect it in, and then go from there. Almost done. All right, we are ever so much closer. So here on the side, I told you, you kind of go up. I did a couple of things. One, you can see all of the cords, if you coil them up, they'll sit up in there real nice. Nothing in there to give them any trouble. The cover just slides right back in over them. Just zip tie them up. I did that on the 06. It works out great. You don't have to worry about them hanging down underneath there or trying to zip tie them up. This cord that goes to the back of the screen, it worked a little better on the 06. It's fine on this one, but what I did, took the right angle drill and just was able to get in there. I used a ball bearing to hold the plastics away from each other, and then I just took and made a little spot where the cord goes through, just to relieve the pressure on it and make sure that it doesn't eventually pinch it. You know, just the constant pressure and the movement going down the road doesn't pinch it and give me problems later. So underneath, we talked about where things were connecting, and right up over here, I can't see you guys, but in the back of what is the ignition module is where that connector goes. If you follow this red wire, see, if you follow this red wire up, it goes up there. and that's basically where it connects. Just unplug it, and it just one end goes back into the original location, and then the OEM connector goes into the harness, supplied harness. But didn't need to take anything out. I just laid on my back and did it. Stuck the light beside me. Worked out pretty good. So I'm gonna put the plastics back in, and then we're gonna show you the installation of the screen bracket. It's pretty easy. We just remove a piece out of the handle, the grab handle on the A-pillar, install the new bracket, and we're done. So we'll get to that in just a second. All right, so one of the last steps to getting this thing installed is the bracket that holds the screen. You just pop this out. This is the bottom hole to the grab handle. And then you need to get in here, because this needs to be removed. It doesn't go back on. This is probably the harder part of everything you're going to do, because you got to get it out of there without breaking it. And that's kind of a pain. But use a little awl, a little screwdriver, one of the two. And you can get it worked out. Now I'm probably gonna be quiet for a minute, and then once I get this out, I'm gonna turn you back on. All right, really no secret to getting it out. I just used the awl to get up behind this little wedge and pull it on out. And then put it back in. You just stuff it back in there. Now then, just gonna use the ratchet, electric one, the number 10 in there. Should be a number 10. It's not a number 10. What is it on these? Ow. Oh, sorry, wiggling you. If it's not a number 10, then it's going to be probably an 8. All right, let me go get the 8. All right, yep, it's an 8. On the 06s, it's a 10. All right, so you pull that screw out, set it to the side. All right, so this piece here does not come with the kit. You got to order it separate. They send a suction cup that goes to your windshield. I'm not a fan of those, but some people like them. All right, so for this, we just take, it's an Allen head screw. I'll get it started by hand. So that I don't strip it out. Sorry, I'm wiggling you guys. Oops. All right. And now, this will be where the screen resides. This cord will go into the back of it, like so. And we should be good to go. Be nice, unobtrusive, out of the way. Rides pretty solid. So that's where we're at. I'm going to have to read the instructions on the remainder of getting the screen set up. I don't remember the startup sequence. I've got to make sure to get that right before I plug the batteries back in. But that concludes the install portion of all the wiring and whatnot. Once I finish reading the instructions, we'll bring you back in. We'll show you the startup on the screen. the boot up process, all that good stuff. All right, see you in a bit. Oh, before I forget, one of the things I like to do. So this is the connector for the 06 and down for the turbo timer. These are the parts that I just took out. I put them all in a bag and I keep it with the truck. The reason being is that these systems are transferable. You can buy another license for it and switch it to another truck. So this system will connect into an earlier model truck. If I ever sell this one, go back to an older one with the 5.9, because I do like them. Like a mega cab, 4-wheel drive, short bed, yeah, I might be convinced to move into one of those. As much as I like the 4th gens, a 3rd gen in that kind of setup might be pretty cool to tow with. But at any rate, for now, I'll just put it with the truck. If I ever change it, I've got it. You could also store it in the house, but at least if it's with the truck, I always know where it's at. All right, guys, so I've got things set up as I like them here in the truck on the gauge. I've kind of got things set up to match, but we can go back in. Like, let's say I didn't want the red, I wanted those to be red. We should be able to go back in. Just swipe down. Should be able to go to theme settings. Sorry. And then we can change the bar color. I'd like the bar color, I can say to have it be red. Warning zone color is yellow, alert zone color, major tick color. If I wanted to change it to match the vehicle, we can go to orange. So as you can see, we got lots of different choices here. Not sure I like those. We'll save it, just take a look, see if it's ugly. Yeah, I'll probably change something on it. Maybe we'll change the red back to blue or something, make the circles blue. So you can change it in different blues as well, in transparency, all that good stuff. So lots of customization. Trying to find the circles. They were in red. Maybe I can't change those to blue. I lied. But at any rate, you can see we got plenty of choices in there. And I may change that up. I had them green in the other truck. I kind of like that. We can also choose some different gauges. So you got some different gauge setups. You got 3 that you can just put in here on your own. But then you can edit the layout. So my current screen's this one. You can change what screen 2 is, screen 3. Lots of different choices. So for screen 2, you can select that one. There's up to 23 options. Some are better than others, just depends on your preference. I chose the one I've got because I'm just used to it. We'll pick one here. So this is what I've got now, or this is what I've been using. You can see it doesn't have the power control settings over here. We may switch over to this one, because right now here. So right now I've got the power settings over here. I kind of don't need the power settings to show. I can look at that on another screen. But if I use this one, it would let me set it up like I had it before. At any rate, I won't bore you with that. Just wanted to show you some of the options on here. So you got color, you got your screens. You got backgrounds. You got some diagnostics, your juice settings. So, low boost response, timing options, transmission setup, your trouble codes. I don't have any trouble codes at the moment. Your turbo cool down setup, I did set this up. So I've got it as EGT based. Basically once it's at 400 and under, it'll shut down. Here's your time limit. So lots of options back in these areas. Transmission setup, I've got transmission slip protection on. Since I do tow, I don't want to develop any more heat than I have to. This will let me detune the motor to keep it from slipping, so I'm not overpowering the transmission. But I won't go through every one of these, just the basics. So there's a backup camera. I don't have it hooked up. You can choose different wallpapers. Oh wow, that one's bright. Even brighter. Interesting. Oh, there you go. That one's nice. Might have to select that one. See what it looks like. I don't know if I like it. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it. It's kind of busy in the background and whatnot. But alright, I think that's going to complete this video for this week. There we go, a little better. I think that's going to complete the video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank everybody for their support, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.